بسرعة بسرعة.
هذا الشيء.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. الله أكبر.
Absolutely horrific. I'm at a loss for words. Allah is the best of planners, and we continue with the sweetest of sabr. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to emancipate the Palestinian people and let the horrors of what we've just seen now on screen be a thing of the past. Let this never ever visit any country in the world. And the sad reality is that most of the Western world, and in fact the Arab neighbors of Palestine, are absolutely silent on this matter. We're going to be talking with general practitioner. She has an academic background in global health policy. She's the member of Healthcare Workers for Palestine. She is locally based, and she is Ayesha Jacub. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the program. And I don't know what you're going to say. That video has gone absolutely viral. You've probably seen it even before we played it out. Your thoughts?
So thanks for the invitation to speak, Auntie Chili. I, like all of you who viewed the video, am shocked and horrified. But at some level, you're not shocked and horrified, because it's what we've actually come to expect from the IDF. And what we continue to see is that every time you think they've hit a new low, they somehow manage to outdo themselves. But I think what we're seeing unfold in front of us, and as I mentioned on Salam Media previously, is the rapid disintegration of the post-World War II rules-based, for whatever it was worth, the rules-based world order. We're also seeing how the world order, as it was currently structured, is premised on favoring certain powers, while we see that certain people are not given the same importance. Their life is not given the same importance. And it's not just a perception, it's not just a coincidence, it really is set up in this way. And to some extent, we're still seeing the legacies of colonialism, racial hierarchies, and proximity to whiteness play out in front of us. What we're also seeing is a systematic dehumanization of the Palestinian people. I think that no people can justify doing this while still seeing the other group as fully human. And it's come to a point where there's complete dehumanization. And I think this is the only way that such atrocities can be perpetrated. We talk about how the Geneva Convention, this is in complete violation of the Geneva Convention. So we're throwing out all pretense of civility in warfare, as we allow, or as the world allows Israel to commit these atrocities.
And sadly, you say that we're shocked and horrified, but we've seen so much of this play out from the beginning of the genocide that I kind of wonder, very, very brokenheartedly, I need to say this, is I kind of wonder how you and I and the rest of the world are becoming desensitized by such footage.
So I've actually I've watched something by a physician, Gabo Mate, where he talks about the sense of moral injury, and us watching this, it's playing on our psyche. But I mean, this is not really about us. It's about the Palestinian people, but we are impacted deeply about this, and I think we have to be moved to some sort of action. If it doesn't, if it's not going to stand to corrupt us at a deeply moral level. So you talk about the desensitization and digitally, and what is interesting is, do you remember when everything first started, how we were horrified, and then we came to a point of sort of being numb, and then there was the ceasefire, and there was hope again. And when we saw these atrocities resume, we were, it was like there was an injury, a fresh injury again. And that's some testament to the fact that as human beings, we can't allow ourselves, and we won't be fully immune to this kind of horror and dehumanization. I mean, there were eight medical staff, 6 civil defense workers, 5 ambulances were systematically shot down. I think there was a first group that were killed, and some of the other rescue workers went in to go and help them. And what was telling was the statements by one of the young medics apologizing to his mother for the path that he had chosen, saying that he only wanted to help people. And I think of maybe becoming a medical practitioner in Gaza would equate to signing up to the military or joining armed forces, because you as much a target, if not more so, than regular civilians.
And that brings to mind Doctors Without Borders, who have been so active for many, many years in conflict situations, where they go in and assist the people and assist where help is most needed. And in this situation, they can't even think of sending volunteers in because they their lives are at risk, totally at risk, and it's a real situation. So even that support that perhaps people were hoping would bring some relief to the Palestinian people is off the table completely. You speak about the people that were involved in this particular situation. We also know that over time the Zionists have decimated all of the hospitals in Gaza. There are no healthcare facilities left to speak about. So they are absolutely intent on carrying out with this Holocaust. It's ethnic cleansing. They want to rid the entire place of a Palestinian identity. Let's just go back to this video, which you've described to us and which we've seen on screen, and the response from the Zionists. They saying that they did not randomly attack any ambulance, insisting they fired on terrorists. Once again, the great Israel lie is,
Mm.
everybody, as far as they're concerned, as long as you're brown, your skin color is brown, you are a terrorist. And they also go on to suggest approaching them in suspicious vehicles. And several uncoordinated vehicles were identified advancing suspiciously toward Israeli troops without headlights or emergency signals. But we have noticed from the footage that that is a lie. That was not, in fact, so.
So, Antijiri, this is what we see continuously, right? I mean, it's almost like an algorithm, or like this is a modus operandi, right? Like, it's first denial, then yes, but we found evidence to show that you're lying, and they retract a bit. Never an admission, and always there's it's a typical move from the IDF playbook. But the question then becomes, what are we going to do with this? As we see it play out, you can't ask a bully to stop bullying. What incentive do they have to stop bullying when they have the power, right? You can't also trust the bully's friends to stop them from bullying, because they have vested interests and similar agendas. So what are we going to do as the global community? And what I mentioned the last time I spoke on Salam Media is that within our spheres of influence, we have to continue to exert pressure to isolate apartheid Israel. And I think our government is still holding the line, despite the numerous repercussions that are being threatened. But I think in our professional spaces, we need to really not allow Israeli doctors, Israeli institutions to be platformed. We spoke previously about the boycott against Israeli medical doctors coming to speak over here. And I think as a global medical fraternity, what we need to be doing is appealing to global institutions to sideline and isolate the Israeli Medical Association based on ethical grounds. When you can make one mistake, all right, but we had the killing of Hind Rajab. We have the detention and torture of numerous medical professionals. So when something is happening repeatedly, we say it's not a mistake, it's not an intelligence fault, it's actually policy. So it seems that it's policy to target and annihilate healthcare services and healthcare workers. And if you're part of a system that upholds this type of policy, or if you're not actively speaking out against it, or if you're benefiting from this regime and agenda, then we need to isolate you.
Absolutely. I kind of always ask the question, how does their conscience allow them to continue day after day after day? And inshallah, when this is all over, it has to end. If anything that goes up has to come down, it will at some point end. How are they going to rebuild? And how they're going to answer to the rest of the world when the world does finally wake up. And I'm going to leave it at that. Your final thoughts regarding this and any other issues relating to the Holocaust. It's no longer genocide on the Palestinian people.
So, Auntie Julie, just something that I read somewhere that stuck out with me in terms of dehumanization and the Israeli soldier's psyche is that somewhere in these lands there was a group of soldiers who made a collective decision to bury ambulances after they'd been smashed and to bury the bodies of healthcare workers. So just sit with that. Somewhere there are Israeli young people, military people who have taken a collective decision to perpetrate an action like this, and the repercussions and the consequences sit with them.
Absolutely. And it would be very interesting 5, 10, 15 years from now, when this is all behind us, to see what spaces those people are living in, how they're dealing with themselves and their conscience. But Allah knows best. Thank you indeed, Dr. Ayesha Jacub, talking
Keep
to
well.
us. You too, and keep that flag flying as high as you possibly can. Assalamu alaikum to you. It is 8:46 News and Views moving along, and let's go for another ad break whilst we are standing by for our next guest right here on News and Views on Salam Media.